All right, so now that we've handled looking at graphs and determining whether or not they're graphs of functions, let's look at equations and determine whether or not they're graphs of functions. Now the first equation I have, this x squared plus y squared equals 1, that's the equation of the circle, and we've already determined that it's not a function. But now let's use some algebra to figure out why. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for y. I'll subtract x squared from both sides, and I'll get y squared equals 1 minus x squared. And now when I take the square root, I have plus or minus the square root of 1 minus x squared. So you can see for every x value I plug in, except for 1 and negative 1, I'll end up with two y values. So for example, if I say x equals 0, then y equals plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 0. And that's plus or minus 1. And there are two values there. So this is not a function. Now, that's because we took the square root of both sides. Here, y equals the square root of x. This is a function because we only get one value. And we're going to talk about this more tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, depending on where you are in my class. But the graph of this guy looks like this. So its domain is the non-negative numbers. We've already shown that. And it's definitely passing the vertical line test here. All right. So this is a function. Now the third one, this is the other thing we need to be careful about. When we solve for y, we're taking the cubed root. We're taking the third root of 6 minus x squared. And we don't need that plus or minus because here we're odd. So this is also a function. And there you go.